Hey, what's up everyone? I'm Rob Richards. Today you're joining me here in the kitchen for Beast Sports. You've probably seen me in the gym over the past few years talking about exercises and workouts, but as we all know, nutrition is a huge part of achieving our fitness goals. Whether that's putting on some lean muscle mass, getting bigger, or getting ready for the summer, shedding the body of fat, or just for general health and wellness, food is at the heart of all of this. And so today I'm gonna break down 6 meals, how to prepare it, and most importantly, the macros, the proteins, the carbohydrates, the fats, all included in all of the recipes. And don't forget, you can head over to beastsports.com, search my name, get a full article with all of these recipes step by step so that you can make them and follow them at home. So to start things off, let's first have a look at the different food categories that I have in front of me. And I've grouped these into 5 main categories. Let's start with category 1, protein, the building blocks of our muscles. So typically these are gonna be animal proteins, and we want that mainly for the complete amino acid profile, all of the building blocks that our body needs from dietary and food intake rather than being able to produce on its own. So right here we have some of our meats. I have ground turkey, chicken breast, tuna, and we'll discuss all of these in detail as we go through the recipes. Don't be afraid of things in tins or frozen. We'll get to that throughout the video. Cottage cheese, great source of protein as well. And of course, eggs, probably the best type of protein as far as being assimilated by the body. And let's not forget our protein powder. I'm using Beast Protein, our continuous release. We're gonna be using this in at least one of our recipes and show you how you can make use of this in several others as well. As we move down to category 2, I have fats here. Now you might be thinking, what about carbohydrates? Aren't they important? Yes, they are. But if you look at the term essential fatty acids, essential, same as the protein, the complete range of essential amino acids, these are things that our body requires from the foods that we eat. So I'm putting fats as above carbohydrates and just below protein. We're looking at sources such as flaxseed type oil, great source of healthy omega-3. These are heart healthy fats that our body needs, regardless whether you're looking at shedding body fat or putting weight on, just for optimal health. Other things like olives, avocados, one of my favorites, peanut butter. We'll be using this in one of our recipes. Eggs to a degree, especially if you use the yolk, and also things like olive oil, but we'll talk about that throughout some of the recipes. Speaking of carbohydrates, let's take a look at these. Now, when I talk about carbohydrates, I'm not meaning our manufactured, man-made type of carbohydrates such as cereals. All of the food here is pretty much in their single original source, and that's to say how you would expect to find this food in nature. A yam, for example, potato. This comes right out of the ground, one ingredient. It's not made up of 10 or 15 different ingredients like many of these cereals are. So all of the foods here, we're gonna create our recipes from scratch. We have our potatoes, both yam and roasting potatoes. Brown rice, which we'll be using a lot of in most of our recipes. And also things like whole grain oats, great for breakfast and some of our post-workout and evening treats. Beans as well. Now, these are both a protein and a good source of carbohydrate, a lot of dietary fiber in there as well. So I'm gonna use some of those in our recipes. And speaking of greens and fiber and other micronutrients that we're not perhaps optimizing with our main macro foods here, got a selection of greens, got some spinach, mushrooms, some onion. We'll include some fruit as well, different from our greens and vegetables, but fruits are a great source of micronutrients and types of sugars that we're gonna mix in with our other starchier carbs to make up our recipes. Frozen vegetables. Now I mentioned earlier, don't be afraid about frozen or fresh. Frozen keeps all the nutrients locked in, plus they're gonna be really easy to get, buy, store, and use when we need them. And then moving down towards the end, our 5th and final category, not really a food or a macro or a micronutrient, but they're gonna be used a lot in our recipes. And these are gonna be things like condiments, ketchup, mustard, and lots of spices, flavorings to really allow us to create something special with these ingredients. So speaking of which, let's kick things off, start on our first, which we're gonna have a look at breakfast, and then run through 4 other day meals that can be substituted and switched around, and then finish on our final evening meal. Bit of a treat that I look forward to after basically being so good with my food intake all day. You ready? All right, let's kick things off with meal number one.